scientists have detected a water world with with an entire ocean that is boiling. Now, I guess if you want to understand this, it's um, in this case it's liquid water, but I assume that different metals have different temperatures and different planets have different compositions, and so I would assume you could have like an ocean that's made out of something else, not necessarily water. This is an interesting rendition. I don't know that a sun would look like this. When I look at these artworks, I guess, having an entire ocean world would be interesting. I don't, it's, I always imagine, when you're exploring a planet, you think to yourself like, oh, I would like to be someplace where, you could land on it, right? And it's weird to think that there are entire sort of spheres of or planets, I guess, that are just completely made out of either water or at least in this case covered in water, or even completely gaseous, like Saturn and Jupiter. But it makes you think that the way our Earth is organized may not be common, and it also, having an entire planet that is boiling would be, I would think it would be typical to have scenarios where they are not as ideal as they are here on Earth. But I also think to myself that maybe, perhaps, we think of, oh, well, life on this Earth is, there is a requirement that it not be too hot. But maybe instead of having a planet that sort of promotes life, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe life adapts to whatever it is. Maybe it's the other way around. Instead of thinking, oh, well, the planet has to be a right shape or with the right conditions. Maybe the issue is that let's look through here. Like, maybe the issue is that life, or whatever we could call as life, will always be and here's a telescope that would detect this. And here I'm saying, like, maybe life is not something that, maybe life adapts to whatever is there. So, like, maybe there is life in the most, the things that we couldn't imagine, but maybe there is a life form that thrives in boiling water, right? So I don't see why not. And so, yes, our flesh obviously cannot withstand it, but maybe they're not made of flesh. Maybe they're made of something that can withstand it. So that's that's how I think of it. So it's interesting, but it just makes me think about other ideas. And the other thing, of course, is the colorations. I do like the colors. Like, this looks very clean. It looks, computer generated, I guess. And I love how colorful it is, but I one thing I've noticed is that, like, isn't color a product of our eyes? So, like, when you look at the planets, it almost feels to me like it's always less colorful. Like, I wish it were more colorful than it actually is, but really, when you think of, like, a sun ray, it seems yellow, but it's actually kind of whitish. And when you look out in space, through a telescope, a lot of things look gray. So I wonder if really the color, is something that is not... I wish, I guess, the universe were more colorful than it actually is. Because in reality, maybe it's just all gray. Because why would the universe put itself into different colors? And I guess it also affects how our eyes are. Like, maybe maybe it's just our eyes that sort of create the illusion of color. I don't know. So like maybe you could like transfer your eyes and change it so that the colors are different, you know? But I don't know. Right? Or even so yeah, it's interesting. As far as the ocean is concerned, I mean, I do like, I like water. I mean, water is okay, but the thing is, when you think of an ocean world, how would a life sort of, like, why would they construct anything on top of it? Like I guess if somehow we were to colonize it or something, it would not be practical for us to build in a boiling place. And I mean, I guess that seems kind of obvious, but I mean, even if, like, perhaps, I guess you could cool it in some way, like, that would be interesting to have a way of counteracting it. But I do like, I mean, I don't know, like, even this, I don't know, does this look realistic? Like, look at how the waves, it doesn't seem like the sun. I don't think a sunset looks like that, does it? And also, it looks too big, right? Like, for compared to the horizon. And the water is kind of, like, it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, the horizon and the wave, I don't feel like, I don't know that this is a realistic look of how an ocean would actually look. But I don't know, maybe an artist, I guess that's something an artist would probably know more about. But as far as the planet, what do I think of this planet? I mean, it's almost like, when you look at something that you can't really, that's not habitable, it's almost like it doesn't exist. It might as well not exist because, like, it's uninhabitable, right? So why, what purpose would it serve? The only way, maybe you would just only send a robot. And even still, it's weird to think about. Like, yes, it's interesting, but it's weird to think about a place that's so different. And I wonder if perhaps all planets are like that in a way. So here's a nice here's the telescope. It looks, I like the color scheme, and it, I do believe that, I like how they, well, this telescope in particular, I like how it has I guess it has a design that is unusual. I mean, I can only tell it's a telescope is because of this part up front where the yellow is, but the shield, I guess. But like this right here at the bottom, it kind of looks like a vacuum cleaner. I don't know, like a Dyson vacuum cleaner, but I guess that what they're going for is more, when it comes to design, right? Like, you can see how, they didn't want to cover it. Like normally you would cover it, right? Like you would, but maybe they're trying to save on resources. Maybe they're trying to save money. So yeah, that makes it so that they don't, that, like, for example here, they could have covered it up, but a lot of technologies sometimes, that's a trend that I've been noticing. Like, when you walk into a restaurant or a retail store and then like you can see the top part where that's kind of how that's what this reminds me of. And so I mean, what I would say, oh, it looks, there's the energy, I guess. There's a sun, like a sun solar panel. And then, yeah, I'm trying to figure out what this is. I mean, these pipes, I guess, might be, maybe those are solar panels too from a different angle. I don't know. But, of course, I like how hard and metallic and shiny it looks. I'm not sure that it has to be shiny. But, a lot of these things are exposed to the elements, though, so I don't know. Maybe covering it up would be a good idea, because if it hits debris, right, it might go in between. It might lodge itself into one of these sort of these parts that we see here. And yeah, overall, let's go back, I guess, to the article. I would say it's pretty good. Of course, when you look at this, you might think, well, how do they know this? And really, all they're doing, according to this article, is they're just measuring they're literally measuring just the chemical composition of the planet. That's literally all they're doing. So imagine you're looking through a telescope, and they're not actually seeing a picture of this planet. They're just like pointing at a position, right? And then somehow, because they can't even see anything, it's so far away, so they're able to just pinpoint and, I guess, find the composition based on the light that it reflects. I don't know. But I guess there's a way that they have of doing it and measuring the composition, the chemical traces of the planet. So, I'm not sure why it's significant. I guess this just shows that, I guess people just assume that maybe a water wouldn't it evaporate eventually? So I'm not sure. I mean, I guess it's not that unusual. But I guess it says here, but depending on the atmospheric pressure, it could just stay liquid. So maybe the pressure keeps it like this. I don't know. Like,